Recent data suggests that the use of PIPs, or performance improvement plans, along with other types of performance measures, are on the rise lately. Is that a good thing? Do they actually increase employee performance? What about alternatives? I'll discuss those in this video. A recent article from the Wall Street Journal suggests that the use of PIPs are on the rise. These are performance improvement plans intended to help an employee to know where they're falling short and where they need to increase their effort and results to essentially keep their job or remain in good standing as an employee at an organization. It's interesting because there was one aspect of the article that really caught my attention, and it was where they mentioned that at one organization, Cisco, they looked at 5 years of data on the use of PIPs and found that in 90% of the cases, people left within a year of receiving the warning. And that was whether they survived the PIP or not. The article goes on to state that it may be because trust is broken in the relationship once a PIP comes into the conversation. I could see that that would be the case. PIPs are very hard to accept as an employee, even when you know that it might be coming. To receive that formal notice can be really demoralizing and difficult to handle, especially given the long list of fixes that you need to make as an employee. So if PIPs actually tend to drive people away, why are they used so much? Well, in California, employment lawsuits are the #1 lawsuit filed, according to the article. So this tells you that there are legal reasons why companies do use PIPs to essentially create a paper trail of activity that the company has invested in for the sake of the employee to help them improve performance before drastic action is taken. So it protects them perhaps from an employee lawsuit that may be filed later. But I'd like to stay on the side of really focusing on employee improvement. That's the spirit of the PIP, to help someone to understand where they're falling short. And this is where I think companies are falling short. Let's talk about alternatives. From my perspective as an executive coach, an alternative is to get way ahead of the game. Managers who are really alert to the strengths and capabilities of their individual employees and teams know when they're falling short. They know when results aren't meeting expectations. As soon as they become aware of these things, it's important that they're upfront with their teams and with the individuals on the teams that we need to improve performance. We need to be doing better. And that includes me as the manager. What can I do to help increase performance on the team? Where am I falling short? When the manager comes to the team or individual with that level of vulnerability and transparency early on, then the shift feels much more comfortable. And when I say the shift to accelerated performance and results, right? Stepping it up. So this is step #1. The manager must notice early on when adjustment needs to be made and to have that conversation right away. And step #2 is the manager should also express vulnerability in their willingness to make adjustments themselves. Oftentimes, that relationship is so important that both sides need to adjust for greater performance to be the result. How about step #3? And that is to involve coaching, training, development as necessary for people to improve their performance, but not as a check the box. In the past, I believe that I've been hired as an executive coach to check the box for someone who was on a PIP as another means of intervention and remediation to try and help that employee to improve. But is that really what it was? So in this case, since we're working earlier on, that's where coaching and training can have a real positive effect, because the employee or the team is not yet in trouble. Once they're in trouble, this whole equation becomes much more difficult, right? So get ahead of it with some coaching and training. Step #4, and this is not necessarily in order, but another idea is to create a how we work document for teams. Teams that I've worked with in the past have operated largely with no set rules for how we work together. When should we respond to email? Should we use email after hours? When do we actually contribute to agendas for team meetings? And how do people contribute in team meetings? Only orally? Can we submit written comments? How much should a teammate say to another teammate about their performance? And this gets to idea number 5. But first, I just want to fill out idea number 4. And that is that when a team has a how we work document, it makes performance a lot easier because expectations for group norms are set. And when we know the rules for how we operate together, chances are we will work better together. And that takes me to step 5. I mentioned about team training earlier. I run a program called the 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team, where teams are taken through 5 behaviors based on the blockbuster book by Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, to help them establish progressive norms of behavior where they are progressing upwards to results. But it starts with trust and conflict, then commitment, then accountability, then results. Accountability is really important. When team members are able to hold each other accountable, that reduces pressure on their manager or leader and increases expectations across the team that we are going to be holding each other accountable for the work that we're expected to perform. And if we have a how we work document, then we know that we can hold each other accountable. So consider taking a team through a team development program like that early on, not when the team's in trouble, but early on. The more you do early on, the less likelihood that you need to do things like PIPs, and you would probably only use them in extreme circumstances. So that's really my bottom line answer, is do everything you can to develop individuals and teams beforehand so that PIPs largely become unnecessary. I hope this video has helped to just start to think about different means of increasing performance rather than relying on PIPs and those difficult conversations that come when a team or individual has really slid. If this has been helpful, please like the video, comment on it, and share it with others. Subscribe to the channel. There's more videos are on the way. Place any comments and I will definitely respond to you. Love to hear your comments about these thoughts here. And if you would like to get coaching, as I mentioned earlier, that can be a great way to increase employee performance for individuals or teams, or the 5 Behaviors Team program that I talked about. Please email me at michael@BAERExecutivecoach.com or visit the website BAERExecutivecoach.com and explore our services. You can inquire through my contact form or even schedule an appointment with me right there. Thank you very much.